Okay. Again, sorry. Actually, this again is another master thesis for another master student. So we have a master in Hochschule Anhalt, and we try to actually encourage to our students to research work. And this case, so Nikhil Arora, he was working in a company in Germany, Microenergy International, and they were quite interested in this topic. Actually, they kind of sponsor him for his master thesis. He should be here actually doing that before. I hope younger than it will do more excited than I will do, but I will do my best. And what we would like to talk to you about right now is what we call an inverse multiplexer mechanism for photovoltaic-powered battery swapping charging stations. And as I said before, this company, which is called Microenergy International, they were actually, this is more like, they wanted to try new business ideas in Southeast Asia, so basically specifically in India. And they wanted to see, they knew that 2- and 3-wheelers, which are the cars that you have like this one here. Let me see if I'm able to get that, yeah. Okay, so these are very used in India, Pakistan, Bangladesh, and then constitute, that was quite surprising to me to know, 83% of all vehicles in India, which is a lot of vehicles, right? And actually right now, the Indian government is promoting these type of vehicles, the electrification of these type of vehicles quite a lot. And then the idea was to look for new business models for this. We took care of the technical part, give some initial ideas about this. And for 3- and 2-wheelers, it makes a lot of sense to have this kind of systems here, which is a battery swapping charging station. So batteries are small in 2- and 3-wheelers, so you can actually take them out and put them in there. It's just easy to do. And the idea was, what can we do with this? How can we improve that? So Nikhil was working on this, and what you usually have is you have a battery swapping station connected to the grid, and you usually have one charge controller for each battery, right? And as I said, connected to the grid. You may also have the ones where you have just one big charge controllers and all the batteries connected to it. But we identified that for some places in India, it is very important to also have access to these chargers in places which maybe you don't have electricity or grid, or maybe the connection to the grid might be difficult because you have to create some infrastructure. So then it makes sense to have an off-grid system powering these swapping charge controllers, charging stations, and then use what we call a DMUX, or if you want an inverse multiplexer, which is just one charge controller, which then it will be distributing the energy among different batteries according to a given algorithm. And then the objectives were basically to do that in a very efficient way, and also I would say that to try to have workable batteries as soon as possible. So we would like to have at least one battery which is available to use as soon as possible with this strategy. And for that, we built a modeling system. We used basically PVLib for that. So, and also we follow an object-oriented approach, because this is the first part of this type of project. And then with objects, we're basically allowing ourselves to grow some more complex systems. So we have, this is basically taken from PVLib. If you know PVLib, you have object-oriented systems, and you can define your PV array, and then also different models for invariance. So you have the enchanting layers high model, but you can also use the Perez, put down and make a difference. And then also temperature model, and we are using real data, which is very good, because then you can just plug in the data that you have for invariance. And then based on that, based on the model, you will get how much PV you will get. And we constructed basically this, so one object for our charge controllers, the algorithm, and one model for lithium-ion batteries. And, okay, that's one happening for doing that, because just a minute, the thing is that we have an algorithm, and the way in which this algorithm works is we define goals. So this is just an example based on the lithium-ion batteries, where we say we want to try to get the batteries to these goals one at a time. So first is 35%, 60, 75, or 90. but these goals may change depending on the situation. So I would say one of the idea of defining this goal is how much battery you need to, how much energy you need to have in a battery to meet the trip requirements of two-wheelers. So if it is short trips, 35 might be okay. If you know you're going to be longer trips, then you may get rid of 35 and get to 60 or 70. Something that also this algorithm considers is the time of the day, right? Because it's not the same charging the battery in sunrise, the charging when it is about sunset. So this algorithm also takes into account if you have the rest of the day to charge or if there is going to be sunset soon. And these are the classes that we did for the battery. So we actually also took into account self-discharge for the battery. And we have a class for the whole system, so it's a wrap-up. You will get all the different elements, put it in a single object, and then you may create different instances, and then you may have different number of batteries on the PV arrays depending on what you are testing. So we test this in a case of study. This case study was 10 batteries located in Calcutta because that was one place which was very interesting for the company. And we used lithium-ion batteries, and we tried in winter and in summer to have the worst and best case scenario. At the moment, we only consider clear sky radiance conditions. That's very important to say because, as a disclaimer, because it may change if you have shadows. We are not considering that you have any losses in the charge controller, but we are considering that you have self-discharging batteries. And then we are comparing 3 different cases. One is our algorithm, so that's with these goals that we have defined, so reach them into a different levels of charging. Then one without goals, so that means just charging the battery, which is more discharge first, and then the case in which you have independent chargers. And we have a set of batteries with different, actually random initial state of charge below 35, and we put them at a given time, and then start the simulation. What you can see here is, I would say, quite interesting. So this is the proposed algorithm you will see here because you have the different stages of the goals. And what you can see is, in this case, with this strategy of inverse multiplexing, you will have that at 8 a.m., in the case of Calcutta in summer, you will already have one battery at 60%. So that will be one battery ready to use. If you use this state of charge algorithm, that means start charging the one which is least discharge, then of course then you will have a lot of switching because then that will be changing within the batteries, and then you have to wait until 11 to have a battery at 60%, right? Because here you are putting the same energy, but then you are allowing yourself to get more batteries ready to use. And in the case in which you have independent chargers, you will still have to wait a little bit less than the case before for the least charged batteries. But again, it will be one time later than 8 a.m. with our algorithm. So then at 10:45, there will be the first battery which reaches 60%. And also, I would say that, well, in the previous case, you will have a lot of switching. So one thing that you always have in these strategies when you do switching of different devices is the lifetime of the switches. There are strategies to do that, but anyhow, what you want to do is to reduce when you have to switch first. And of course, if you have independent chargers, it won't only be more costly, but you may have the situation in which you will be wasting charging resources. Why is that? Because you may have the case in which you have 10 batteries, but you may have only 9 batteries. So you will have one charge controller which is actually doing nothing, right? So with the inverse multiplexing case, you will be also not only taking advantage of reducing the cost, but also profiting more of the charging infrastructure that you have. So as summary and conclusions, I would say that we have these frameworks done object-oriented based on PVD, which is quite proven. So we just add the batteries and our charger controllers to this. We were able to see that very simple algorithm that we're able to get one battery available very soon for that. And I would say that then for future outlook, there's a lot of things we would like to try here. One is cases, worst cases, like when you have shadowing, right? And then we can also add predictions. So there is a lot about charging with prediction of PV. Yeah, so then of course we have implicitly considered the different charging stages of a battery, right? But we want to actually put them more explicitly in our simulation data. And that way.
Thank you, Carlos. I was hoping to see in the future, say we're going to sell this algorithm to someone.
I do. We have to talk with the people here because we're not able to put in the business. But
yeah.
Then, yeah, that's something that we for sure want to do.
Yeah, I'm working in industry myself, and obviously I spent 10 years in universities, but I just feel kind of, there are lots of potential universities, lots of work being done, and stay there, basically. None of them is coming to more product, which is a pain in this environment that we have no resources. Resources very thin, We are looking for resources and can't find them. Great, so Carlos, thank you. Any question? Please.
What will be the kilowatt peak you need to have for the photovoltaic panel to charge one of those stations?
Yeah. So in this case was 5 kilowatt peak for 10 batteries. Of course, then it depends on what you want to do. But we said that what they want to have, the company, is some standardized system. Not an ad hoc system, but something that you do and then you just replicate because that would be more cost effective than then to have just one design for each system.
I see. Okay.
Thank you, Carlos. Thank you very much.